How to break through fat loss plateauing. What to do if your weight stopped dropping after 3 months of dieting. What to do if your weight stopped dropping after a month of dieting. Or what to do if you just can't get started. These are exactly the points that we'll discuss in this episode, so make sure to watch until the very end because I will give you a troubleshooting guide with multiple points and your problem can be hidden in any of these points. I will identify what the possible problems are and all the solutions available to overcome these problems. This podcast will give you absolutely everything you need to overcome your fat loss plateauing. So enjoy. Welcome to the Limitless Body and Mind podcast. My name is Peter and I'll be making fitness super simple for you. I'll be giving you lots of strategic and practical advice that will help you get started, overcome the problems and ultimately reach your fitness goals. That's because we can't make calories out of thin air. That's one of my favorite sayings because it's simple and very true. And at the end of it, you'll feel much more energized, your hormonal levels will balance out, you'll feel much stronger. So don't get fooled by your ability to stick to a strict diet for a week. Today we'll discuss possible reasons for your fat loss plateauing and how to deal with them. I have a troubleshooting guide of 7 possible reasons. There are no other reasons, and it's only these 7. They will solve the problem. If they don't solve the problem, probably you're missing something that I'm saying, or maybe I'm not explaining it well. So for any critics, remember to comment below and help me make these episodes better for you so you can understand them. And I will be much appreciated if you do that. So before we dive into the troubleshooting, I want to first clarify how fat loss works. If you like, you can skip this part, but I think it's always good to repeat what really needs to be known and never have doubts about it. So fat loss works when you are on a caloric deficit. When you consume less calories than what you're burning, then you're burning fat, right? You can be burning also other nutrients from the body like proteins and carbs, right? Whatever you have in store. But you will be losing weight, and if we apply some principles, we'll make sure that we burn mostly from the fat. Now, what you should also remember and understand is that it doesn't matter your hormonal issues. It doesn't matter your thyroid dysfunction or your diabetes or your high blood pressure or the stroke that you had last month or the heart attack or whatever the health conditions it is that you have. None of that really matters when it comes to fat loss. And that's the most common misconception. You think that something is wrong with you? No, nothing is wrong with you when it comes to fat loss. That's because we can't make calories out of thin air. That's one of my favorite sayings because it's the simple and very true. You can't produce calories. The only way you make these calories is you actually consume them. You take them from the outside. You can't just sleep and create calories. It doesn't work this way. And you're using calories for everything that you do throughout the day. Watching this episode, thinking, reading, walking, working, right? You're using calories for absolutely everything. So delete the concept that you can stay on a caloric deficit and not lose weight. If you're not losing weight, it's because you're not on a caloric deficit. So we'll now go through the 7 points, try to identify what is going on and why are you not losing weight. Okay, the first point we have on the list is, have you been dieting for too long? If you've been on a caloric deficit for, let's say, 3 months, 2-3 months, that's when we start seeing the problems appear, like your metabolism slowed down dramatically. And the effects of that can be like a low energy, a very bad mood most of the time, lack of concentration, low performance in the gym, and you really struggle to go through the day. And at the same time, your metabolism has already slowed down, which means you need to do more movement to burn the amount of calories you need to burn, or you need to reduce the food even further. But what happens in some cases is that people drop their calories a lot during these periods, and they keep dropping them because every time you lose some weight, then you need to drop the calories a little bit less, because when your body is lighter, then it burns less calories. So they end up like reducing the calories, and at some point it becomes like unbearable. You're like eating 1,000 calories and you're still not losing weight, and that means what? You're gonna stop eating at all. It becomes very negative experience, mentally draining, physically draining, and it's hard to do your job, it's hard to live your life. At that point, yes, you probably hit a plateau in a way because you're just not able to cope with that shit, which is normal. And then you want to do a reverse diet. A reverse diet is something that needs to be done strictly if you don't want to put all the weight back in fat. A reverse diet is done progressively by adding, like, let's say about 100 calories per week, 100 calories daily, every week. So let's say you've been eating like right now at 1500. Next week you're going to increase it to 1600. The week after you're going to increase it to 1700. And you will see your weight going up and then going down a little bit and going up and going down, or maybe just will maintain up for a long time. And at the end of it, you'll feel much more energized, your hormonal levels will balance out, you will feel much stronger, and everything is going to come back to normal life. And then you can, like within a month or two, maybe 3, you can hit the gym again with a diet phase, and you absolutely crush it, and you'll continue burning fat. So reverse diet is a very cool stuff to go through. In my personal experience, that's one of the best experiences, because your body looks best and it's just great performing. The next point we have on the list is, are you lifting weights? So if you've just been dieting without exercising, you'll probably be losing your muscle. And if you're losing your muscle, your metabolism slows down. Also, when you're training all the time, you're maintaining your metabolism very high. And the muscles are the biggest organs of the body, and when you train them, they continue helping you burn more calories throughout the day and throughout even sleep. And that maintains your metabolism high, the calorie burning process. And if you're not training your muscles frequently enough, like maybe twice a week, every single muscle, then yeah, that's the effect. Your metabolism slows down. And a little bit of training can help. You can also try to reducing the food, but that will lead to the cycle of you just reducing the food very fast, because your metabolism is just going to crash down. And you'll find yourself, like within a couple of weeks, feeling absolutely miserable, not eating anything and not losing weight. So it's not the way to go. You definitely should be doing resistance training. And not just cardio. Another mistake is to just do cardio and hope that does the job and that counts for training, but that doesn't train all the muscles. Right, so it's important that the cardio that you do trains all the muscles. There's not many cardios that you can do that really will train your muscles as effectively to preserve them and also maintain your metabolism high. So resistance training is a must. Start doing it. The next point on the list is daily activity, and we usually measure it with tracking the steps. The steps is something that if you don't track, you intuitively will start doing less and less of, especially when you start getting tired, your metabolism is pushing you to slow down, your energy is low. You will naturally stop fidgeting or reduce the fidgeting, which burns a lot of calories, and you will reduce the steps and other activities. So it's important that you maintain very high steps to maintain that metabolism and keep burning fat. And if you're not tracking your steps, the chances are you're not walking as much as you want. So your best thing you can do is start tracking them with any device that you can wear on your wrist. Very cheap ones can do the job. You can even track your steps with your phone, but the problem is you have to carry the phone in your pocket all the time. And it's not very accurate, but it does the job. And when you track the steps, you want to make sure that they stay above 5,000. Anything below 5,000 is just like barely maintaining some sort of activity. If you want to really get into the fat burning and be serious, I would say keep it at above 7,000. If you have any issues, any injuries that prevent you from doing that, just aim to do as much as you possibly can and maybe progressively increase them. The golden standard is 10,000 steps, because it's not that hard to achieve, and that's the equivalent of about 2 hours of straight walking. So anybody can fit in like an extra hour of walking, most people, or maybe you can't, but most people can. And the other 5,000, they usually come from just daily activities. Within the house, you can easily make like 2,000-3,000 steps in a day. And that will massively help you. So start tracking your steps, because you're probably not walking as much as you are. Okay, the next one on the list we have is water retention. And that's a little bit of like a glitch in the system. Because just because you're retaining some water, your weight might be going up or staying in the same place, but that doesn't mean you're not burning fat. Remember what I said about fat burning. So as long as you're on a caloric deficit, you're burning some of the fat. But sometimes, because of stress, because of hormonal issues, because of bad sleep, because of problem with the digestive system, we can hold on extra weight. That could be fat, nutrients, or waste out of the body. That maybe you have a problem with the lymphatic system. Maybe your body is inflamed because of something happened, maybe a virus. It could be like many things that can cause retention of water. Could be salt as well. Salt is a big one. Sometimes you eat a little bit more salt and then you drink a little bit more water, and you find yourself with 1 kilo more on the next day, and you've been on a caloric deficit, and you think like, what the hell just happened? Well, nothing really happened. You just gained a little bit of extra weight from water and stuff. So don't freak out. Your weight can fluctuate because of the water retention. The way to eliminate that, to deal with this, is just keep everything consistent, which is, I think, my final point on the list as well. You want to make sure that you're not eating too much salt on some days and too little salt on some other days. You want to make sure that you're consistently sleeping well and so on, to avoid these issues, and give it a few days. Maybe it will pass. If you find in that situation, just don't freak out. Just stick to the plan and make adjustments, or judge the progress based on like weekly progress, not on over 2-3 days, because 2-3 days, that's the period in which your weight can fluctuate dramatically, and it can freak you out. So don't get freaked out because of these small movements in your weight. The next one is a very personal one. Are you being honest with your food intake or with the cravings that you do? Because you may be not completely honest with yourself. How much calories are you consuming within a day? Are you lying to yourself and here and there just grabbing a few pieces of snacks, of peanuts, of crisps, or it could be anything that you're just eating emotionally and just think it's not a big deal, but it could be adding up. It's not that hard to reach your maintenance level, or just get above the calories that you need to be, just enough so you don't really see tangible progress and think that something's wrong with you. So tracking has to be done properly. You need to be tracking your calories and be very strict with it. And remember that you can fool yourself. One of the biggest problems that we have is that we're emotional decision makers, and we emotionally snack a lot and we get addicted to the snacking. In the next episode, I will be talking about snacking and how to deal with cravings. Like, cravings are a big issue, and I have a few strategies, such as like eating a lot of fiber, eating a lot of protein, adjusting some habits throughout the day, eating foods that you don't like that much, and more, which I'll be discussing in the next episode. So the next episode, make sure you subscribe to this one, to this podcast on the YouTube channel, where I'll be releasing the next episode, and we'll dive into some really golden stuff that do work. Like 100% of the time, they just work as long as you apply them. Is pretty much the same as everything else that I do in this podcast. As long as you apply this stuff, they work. So on the next episode, we'll talk about that. Be honest with yourself. The next point that we have is trying to lose weight too fast, and you end up crashing. So don't get fooled by your ability to stick to a strict diet for a week. 1 week is not enough, right? For you to lose 1 kilogram of body weight, you need to burn 7,700 calories in excess of your consumption. So like that's a lot of calories. If you're consuming on a day just to maintain about 2,000 calories, think that like how much calories you need to be burning and how little you need to be consuming just to burn 1 kilogram of fat. It's a very long journey, and it takes months to achieve the results that you want, and you might have to go through the cycle of multiple times, so it's going to take ultimately years. So I will give you a speed that will work very well for you, as you know, works very well for a lot of people. It's between 1 to 2 pounds or 1 kilogram, between half and 1 kilogram per week of weight loss. Anything above that gets very, very extreme. So if you are trying to maintain that fat loss or weight loss like of above 1 kilogram per week, you'll probably end up crashing eventually, because the pressure, the mental pressure of the whole thing is just going to break you down. It's going to play with your mind so hard. Your mood is going to be bad. Some of the points that I mentioned earlier. You're just going to be low in energy, lack of focus, unable to do your job, bad with other people. So at some point, it's just a trade-off that you're getting just for losing weight. It's not going to be enough, because you're losing on so many other fronts, and you decide to just eat so you can fix yourself up. And that can really put you back right on maintenance. It's very easy to make the mistake of just reducing the calories a lot for a week, and at the end of the week you end up binge eating for like extra 2,000 calories, and you lose all the progress. It could be 3,000, 4,000, whatever it is. Like, usually that binge eating, it leads to you being stuck and plateauing, and you think like, I've been on a diet for, let's say, the whole week or 2 weeks, and I overate for 2 days, and I should have lost weight. Why am I not losing weight? But it's not like that. You can really put it all back really quickly, especially when your body is being deprived. It's going to suck everything in when you give it to it. So you need to be very careful, and consistency is the key here. So make sure you're not too aggressive. Aim for about 1 pound to 2 pounds per of weight loss per week. That is the gold standard, which will make you feel very good about it, and you'll be able to enjoy the journey. Anything below that as well, maybe you're trying to achieve it, you go without tracking your calories and you're just trying to eat healthy. Well, below 1 pound a week, that can be very demotivating. So it can really naturally, again, make you do some stupid stuff and just not get anywhere. This is like below 1 pound a week. It's like you're not being serious about it, and it's not going to hook you mentally into the process. Make sure you're losing with some good speed, but not too fast, not going too aggressive, and you're willing to go through the whole journey the way you're supposed to. And the last point of the troubleshooting guide is something that I mentioned multiple times within this episode. It's the consistency. Are you consistent with everything that we mentioned? You have to be consistent with your tracking, the way you tracking at the same time. You have to be consistent with tracking your calories or following your diet plan, whatever that is. You have to be consistent with your training. You have to be consistent with your sleep. When you're not consistent with any of these factors, then your weight can fluctuate. It can cause plateauing and misbehaving from your side, and just you might end up in that position again. So yeah, consistency is always the biggest thing. Now I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you still have any questions, comment below. Subscribe to the episodes, to the podcasts for future releases. I will keep releasing a lot of good stuff. And follow my last episodes as well. I have a few very good episodes that if you haven't seen, go have a look. The podcast is new and your support is very much appreciated. So that's it. Have a good day. We'll see you in the next one.